We bring you guests that challenge the narrative, unveil what power hides, and spark national debate, speaking truth to power, from the grassroots to the highest offices. EMV. We bring you guests that challenge the narrative, unveil what power hides, and spark national debate, speaking truth to power, from the grassroots to the highest offices. EMV. We bring you guests that challenge the narrative,
Lero bwacha bakamba mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia ekyaweka Enjoy. Abantu baafo bakamba kule ku munfumbwe. More than 20 people balebe pati ni babiri. Bagamba. Fish to arufyanya. People have died. Mumino yabakapokola. The police killing people. Why? In the same government bagamba. Abductions have happened. Bagamba. If you're not with them, it's either you're dead or you're in prison. This government, you're going to change big man. Fish to arufyanya pakubika mu office. Fish to arufyanya. Why me? Missing. Achani ruba mwaicho and dishonor. Where is why me? HH, tell us with your government, where is why me? Give us why me. Justice for why me, big man. Wachila mo HH. Wala tupwisha bega kutupwisha bagamba. Katwale kya kulanda big man. Why you think? Maana watata. Sambe tuwasevana. Bagamba. Wanesa tuwapweni. Mujala chetu. Icha Zambia. Tuamona mwempwa. Bagamba. Tuamona mwempwa. Nama abductions bagamba. Muteko tualeta. Wadulete lama. Amazala mush. No, you can take her. Kola ipompa today. No, you can take her. Apa nomba bane. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Makuvota bane. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Makufuatika. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Makufuatika fuatika. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. When you taya kwa fwe. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Aikona man. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Ika yako. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Yakuliati kwenyu. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mufolo pa mufolo. Mayona batata. Mayona batata. Bayuthi. Tentwisuli amenso. Tentwisuli amenso. Batusendela nomba batwipaila na hope Yesu. Endika chagwa lungu watubela tinani mkwatila plan B. Nomba tuwalishiba plan B aba mmino ya kualesa. Bantu banga abalafa mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia. Nibanga abantu abala abducted mu kyalo ky'esu kya Zambia. Bambire kuli jeje banda. Nibanga abantu abala ba mu prison. Abena kitotela kilangwa. Bonze baba prison n'entungulu kina shimbi na shimbi. Muli one government ya kwa HH. Abantu n'abafa mweleza. Aikata nomba baikata na kuli endika kyagwa lungu atukwatire plan B. Abakubo byabyo omufulo big man. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bilabine batsendela endika kyagwa lungu. Abano babane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bakuvota bane. Mufulo pa mufulo. Mufulo pa mufulo. Bakufuatika. Mufulo mufulo pa mufulo, mufulo pa mufulo, bakufuatika fuatika, mufulo pa mufulo, mufulo pa mufulo, kwenyu tayakwa fwe, mufulo pa mufulo, mufulo pa mufulo, aikona man, mufulo pa mufulo, mufulo pa mufulo, itayakwa fwe, mufulo pa mufulo, mufulo pa mufulo, yakuliati kwenyu, mufulo pa mufulo, mufulo pa mufulo. HH does not mean well for Mother Zambia. Zambia to Asebana, this is not the Mother Zambia that we were left with by our ancestors, our forefathers who fought so hard to liberate us. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, Nalumino Mundia, Mama Julia Chikamoneka, Simon Mwansaka Pwepwe, they fought so hard to put this country on the map, to put this country where it is today. No man would destroy this country because we believe in unity. One Zambia, one nation, and we shall together we will change, and we are going to change this government. My name is Blaze Zambia.
Good evening on this wonderful day, Sunday, the 23rd of November 2025. Thank you very much for joining us. Today we are discussing the Patriotic Front. I rarely discuss my own party. You know, this platform hosts opposition leaders, analysts, and other leaders. We rarely discuss the Patriotic Front. Even many of our leaders rarely come to this platform. It's really been, literally just a national platform. But today, we cannot ignore the momentous activities that have occurred in the Patriotic Front. Just on Friday, there was a late announcement by the acting president that the Central Committee that was scheduled the following day was rescheduled. He communicated this fact through one of our civil servants, the media director, Mr. Edwin Lifwekelo. Now, remember, we have the acting secretary general, Brenda Nyirenda, and the national chairperson, Emmanuel Musonda Mpankata. But the communication came through the junior, and immediately the seniors in Mpankata and Honorable Nyirenda Chisopa expressed ignorance about this cancellation, and they wondered why the acting president had communicated this fact through our official. And that sparked a huge debate on our central WhatsApp group, with a heated debate. Then in the night, we saw the acting president make dramatic changes where he removed 6 members of the Patriotic Front, among them our national chairperson and Lupososhi MP, Emmanuel Mpankata, our acting secretary general, who's also Lundazi, member of parliament, Brenda Nyirenda, senior members, Milanzi, MP Melasiano Piri, Strongman, Lusaka Strongman, Jonas Christopher Shakafuswa, and the Northern Province anchorman, Chombachi Pili, were all immediately removed, and there were replacements announced. Now, this caused literally a titanic shift in the party. Remember, I would say, quite fragile, because we are just coming from the difficulties where the party has been hijacked by the state. They've put their own surrogates, they've changed leadership at the Registrar of Societies, they've changed our leaders in parliament. That was headed by Brian Munduwile and Stephen Kampiongo. We've been fighting battles in court for the last 2 to 3 years, and many people are beginning to believe that the Patriotic Front may not be on the ballot, because the surrogates that President Hakainde Hichilema and his team have planted there in Robert Chawinga have already pledged to take the name of the Patriotic Front in alliance with the UPND, while the people, the body, the soul of the party remains with, at the time, Edgar Lungu, and now acting president, Given Lubinda. This morning, I issued a piece where I called for the immediate reinstatement of the people that were expelled. I recognized that the activities that have occurred, first, I recognized that the action by the acting president is within his powers and his rights. We must recognize his acting president. We must recognize that the Constitution empowers him to be and to do the decisions he made. But I said, in our fragile state, in the difficulties that we are going through, we don't need another rift. We don't need another shift. Among other things I called was for members of the Central Committee, leaders across the provinces, and our members to respect Honorable Given Lubinda as our acting president. And I made an appeal to the president that using his discretion and looking at the larger responsibility we have as a patriotic front to emancipate our people from the clutches and difficulties that have been subjected to by President Hakainde Hichilema, that we cannot afford another rift. So I called for the reinstatement. The third matter I called for was the postponement of the General Conference. Colleagues, the General Conference is supposed to be this Saturday. We don't have a delegates list. We haven't appointed the Electoral Commission. We don't know if we even have money to host the conference. The mode of the conference, are we gathering people? Are we not? Are we doing it virtual? Are we doing it as a hybrid? Lastly, the issue of the injunction in Kabwe. These are some of the factors for me that persuaded me to say it is inevitable that we postpone this conference. Maybe not for long, but we need to postpone this conference. On the matter of the Central Committee not meeting because there is a court order in Kabwe, precedence has shown that we've never been affected by these decisions of the court. We've recognized at the beginning that the attacks on us was to paralyze us, to ensure that we didn't meet and we didn't carry out activities, and that we didn't participate in any way. So that was my persuasion, that maybe because of these issues, we should postpone the General Conference. Like I said, the register is not ready. The delegates list has not been approved by Central Committee. The logistics and mode of holding that conference, and among other matters, the court injunction that has directed that PF should not conduct any activities, should not even be at the party secretariat. So it was in that light that I called for the postponement of that conference. So there was a sharp reaction from my dear brother, Dr. Lawrence Mwelwa. And I also invited our MP, Bangweulu MP, Honorable Anton Kasandwe. Honorable Anton Kasandwe heads the research bureau of our party. He will tell you decisions that were made by the party in 2001. In 2003, in 2006, he has precedents, he has declarations, he has decisions of the Central Committee and of the President from as far back as 2001. So other than the Constitution, for example, I can give you an example. There was an issue that all presidential candidates must be incorporated in the Central Committee. Our Constitution now says the only members of Parliament should be about 25, and the number was expanded to 54. Now we are sitting at 120. How are we at 120? So I want our brother, Honorable Anton Kasandwe, who's Bangweulu MP and who heads the research bureau, to come and speak to all these issues. But in the studio, I have Dr. Lawrence Mwelwa, who I'll be introducing to you just shortly. Dr. Mwelwa, welcome to today's program.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. For me, it is a great honor, and I feel very privileged to engage you on this very robust platform. Amongst a few individuals in this country that I admire, that I've admired for a very long time, you are one of those. A journalist who is loaded with not just ordinary journalism, but what I would call intelligence journalism. You speak to situations in our country, and in most cases you set the agenda, the tone, and the discussions that have prevailed on media, the political scenario. So I respect you a lot, and I'm grateful that you have given me the opportunity to address this very important matter, Patriotic Front, with your followers across the world. Thank you so much. And good evening, our followers, wherever you are joining us from. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dr. Lawrence Mwelwa is an academic, is a researcher, and is a political analyst, and is going to help us, just analyze the issues in the Patriotic Front and across the country. And I'll seek his insights on what should be done. You remember, I hold the position of chairperson for information and publicity in the Patriotic Front. However, I'm on this platform on that score, but I wear many hats. I host this neutral platform. So we're going to discuss, I'll give insights in my capacity as chairperson for information. But the analysis will be mine and my opinion and that of Dr. Mwelwa. I'm waiting for Bangweulu MP, Honorable Anton Kasandwe. He's just sent me a text that he has an emergency. I think he has a child who's fallen unwell, but he says he may join us. So we'll leave his box empty. Dr. Mwelwa, before I invite you to delve into this debate, let me just, for the sake of our viewers, let me play these videos. On 22nd, on Friday, 21st, Honorable Given Luinda announces dramatic changes. On Saturday, Emmanuel Mpankata, who's a chairperson who has just been removed in his position, called for a press conference and later held a central committee. So we are going to discuss all that. Let me just refresh you with the videos for the sake of a reminder to our people. Then we go into the debate. Thank you.
Kwenyu ndemwe chabe mabanja onanjala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up, time is up. Kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up.
Good evening, fellow countrymen, women, and the youths of Zambia. And good evening, especially members of the Patriotic Front. I would like to inform the general public that using Article 61J of the PF Constitution, I, with immediate effect, have dropped the following from the Central Committee of the PF. Number 1, Honorable Musonda Mpankata. Number 2, Honorable Brenda Nyerenda Chisopa. Number 3, Honorable Melesiana Piri. Number 4, Honorable Davis Mwila. I have also dropped 2 provincial chairmen, Chairman for Northern Province, Chomba Chipili, and Chairman for Lusaka Province, Christopher Shakafuswa. In addition, I have dropped Member of Central Committee representing Western Province, Mr. Tombi Tombi, and MCC representing Northwestern Province, Abiud Kawangu. Further to this, I have appointed Honorable Jean Kapata to act as national chairperson of the party. For the position of Deputy Secretary General, I have decided to appoint 2 deputies. Deputy Secretary General responsible for politics, Miles Walia Sampa. Deputy Secretary General responsible for administration, Council Celestine Mukandila. that is the announcement that I had for us this evening. I wish to welcome the new appointees and I wish them the best. I also wish the very best for those whom I have dropped from the Central Committee. For the provincial chairpersons, I would like to inform the nation that the deputy chairman for Lusaka shall act as chairman, and the deputy chairman for Northern Province shall act as chairman for administrative purposes until the appointment of substantive office bearers, which will be done in very, very near future. I thank you.
Which is a reaction to what the acting party president, Honorable Given Luvinda, issued last night. You see, yesterday we waited for him to have a consultation with the 6 senior members of the Central Committee as NEC. All we got was a notice of suspending or cancelling of NEC sittings indefinitely. Can you imagine? Where do you see a party leader suspending sittings of the executive members of the party indefinitely and issued by a junior member of the party? So members of the Central Committee, members of the press, we have called this press conference to respond to the decision that the acting president of Patriotic Front, who is the vice president of the party, Given Luvinda, to drop the undersigned from the Central Committee. From the outset, and in no uncertain terms, we declare that the action is illegal as the party constitution does not allocate such powers to an acting president without the ratification of the Central Committee. Additionally, we strongly feel the action is a clear sign that Honorable Luvinda has abandoned the soul of the party at a time when Zambians desperately looking for a strong, united opposition and has chosen ego over unity, ambition over selfless service, and personal survival over collective destiny. And I'll repeat myself. Honorable Given Luvinda has desperately chosen ego over unity, ambition over selfless service, and personal survival over collective destiny. A leader who reshuffles structures days before a convention is bent on crippling the party. To be clear, Honorable Luvinda is vying for the party presidents at the coming convention, which is 7 days away from today. And the right thing for him to do was to step aside to create a level and fair playground. We cannot have a candidate making or changing rules for other contestants. He is a candidate. If he was wise enough, Honorable Luvinda should have stepped aside and take over the reins of the party so that the level playing field is even for all the contesting parties. We expect him to hand over the reins over to the party chairperson, Honorable Mpangata Msonda, who is me, together with the acting secretary general of the party, so that we organize the convention successfully. His action manipulates the playing field even before the whistle is blown. He's trying to be a judge and a jury at the same time. The Patriotic Front needs unity, stability, honesty, transparency, and courage. But instead, Honorable Luvinda detonates drama, division, and sabotage disguised in administration. A leader who cannot unite chooses division. A leader who fears transparency chooses chaos.
Thank you. That's Honorable Emmanuel Mpangata Mporokoso MP, who was removed as chairperson of the party, proceeded to have that press conference and even hosted a central committee where he collected some members stand up. Since the two events, I should inform you, especially to our members of the Patriotic Front, that they are hastened activities by seniors, by presidential candidates, by people from the clergy and others to bring these divisions together. And there have been several meetings since then to, first of all, de-escalate the crisis. And I think a lot of progress has been made. I personally issued a statement where I stated that the Central Committee called by Honorable Emmanuel Mpankata Msonda is illegal because the only one that is allowed in our party to call for the Central Committee is the President. As chairperson, he has powers, but those powers only usually manifest at a general conference. The chairperson is the one that chairs the general conference. I also appealed to our members to respect Honorable Luwinda is the acting president. The request that Honorable Luwinda, now because he's a presidential candidate, must step aside is not necessarily supported by the law. The law merely simply says if the president is unavailable, the vice president acts. In this case, where the president has demised, may his soul rest in eternal peace, the vice president takes over. If the vice president, who's now acting president, wishes to participate in those elections, the constitution is very silent. It becomes a moral issue whether he should relinquish that position or not. So now let me bring the analyst himself, especially that he's an independent person, he's not a member of the Patriotic Front, to give us from his perspective. He follows all political parties as a political analyst. Let me solicit his views. Dr. Mwelo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. And I wish to start from 2021. After the party lost power, we all learned that His Excellency President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, may his soul rest in peace, he resigned or handed over power to Honorable Given Luwinda to run the party. There has been debate as to whether he resigned or he just took sabbatical leave. Whatever the case, the party secretary, the party vice president, Mr. Given Luwinda, was given powers to run the party. And I also do recall that somewhere around 2022, calls for participation in party presidential elections were made. And so several contestants submitted their applications and paid fees in order for them to participate in the election of the leader of the political party. And what happened was then that procrastination upon procrastination upon procrastination, until lo and behold, the party was taken over by Mao Sampa. And with the little information that I have, the reason why Mao Sampa took that path was that your Central Committee had at some point agreed that the man should be reprimanded for whatever offense he committed, but instead of just reprimanding him, the acting president went all the way to suspend him from the party. When he came back from that suspension, he staged a coup. The party was taken away from the hands of Honorable Luwinda. He was the president, he was in charge of the party. But then this party was taken away from him. There's a narrative that has been running since 2023 that the chaos in the Patriotic Front was, is the work of the UPND government. To some extent, yes, but to a larger extent, I personally think that the challenges that the PF is going through today is as a result of lack of leadership by the man who is sitting in the chair, by the man who is in charge, who is the party acting president, because he has been in charge. Even though the late President Lungu came back, he came back actually as a matter of, rescue for the party. He came to rescue the party after President Given Lubinda had lost the party to the hands of Mao Sampa and later on to Mr. Chavinga. So in leadership, it is always important to acknowledge your strengths and also to acknowledge your weaknesses. The situation that the Patriotic Front is sitting in today is as a result of lack of leadership, lack of direction by the Patriotic Front acting president. If the Patriotic Front acting president in 2022 bold enough to organize a convention at which a leader would have been chosen, this chaos would not have been there. Maybe it could have been in a different angle, but not to the extent where the party has been taken over by other people. Coming to the recent suspensions, I think even though I'm not very conversant with the party constitution, I am conversant with the rules of natural justice. I think that if
Thank
you are
you,
taking any
Dr. Mwelo.
action,
Let me just come in. Let me just come in briefly, dear viewers. You can share the broadcast. You can share with your colleagues, and we'll be opening the phone lines for your views. I'm hosting two people. I'm hosting a researcher, a person who heads our research bureau, Honorable Kasandwe. He has not pitched up yet. He has a commitment. And I'm also hosting Dr. Lawrence Mwelwa, an academic and a political scientist and a watcher of politics. He's participated. You saw him. He was with the Socialist Party. And currently, he writes very insightful analysis that we regularly use and publish. So please share the broadcast, especially members of the Patriotic Front. We want to guide, we want to help. Now, let me just say on the assertions that you've just put across that the leadership could be attributed to the failure to Honorable Given Lubinda. Contrarily, many people hold it that Honorable Lubinda, with resilience, with steadfast, has actually held this ship together since 2021. It has gone through severe attacks internally and externally, and it's been the man that has held it together. The Patriotic Front infrastructure and structures across the country remain intact. He has made it and allowed it to be visible. So it's also interesting with your perspective where you attribute the failures and these decisions as a reason we are here. Now, in light of what we need to do, in response to the article which I wrote, I proposed, number one, that we should adjourn the conference that is scheduled for this weekend. For the reasons I gave. Number one, I said the delegates list. I said we need to appoint an electoral commission. Number three, I stated that the logistical nightmare, other than the court order, the logistical nightmare of holding this conference that should attract minimum about 3,500 people. You countered my article with a very insightful article where you said no, delay will be dangerous. We should proceed to hold the conference. Please speak to your thoughts.
Well, let me first of all just quickly respond to the assertion that the party has been held together by a Given Lubinda. I respect him as a leader, but I want to tell you that the party has been held together by what I call the imprisonment of hope. The Patriotic Front members throughout the country, what has held them together is that passion for hope. They are hopeful that their leaders will reorganize and be able to bounce back into government so that they can continue with the pro-poor policies which they started with, which President Michael Sata had started, which President Edgar Lungu continued. So what has held the party together is hope. All your members today are what I call prisoners of hope, and they are hoping that one time things are going to be fixed and they will be able to move forward. Now, Let me now speak to my article that I wrote this afternoon. When you are at war, and I think that this is more like a time of war. When you are at war, time is your resource number one. What can happen in a second can be disastrous. If you just delay by 1 second or even by 1 minute, you could be blown by a grenade, you could be hit by a bullet, you could be blown by a bomb or whatever. But if your movement is swift, you actually be able to save yourself and those that are with you. Time is very, very critical in politics. If you refer to the Bible says that the sons of Issachar were wise. Why? Because they understood the times. If there is one thing that once it is gone, it is never recovered, it's time. And that is the reason why that I'm saying that you may be prisoners of hope, hoping that leadership up there can come together, can have consensus and produce a leader for them. But what they have experienced is fight after fight after fight after fight. It just goes to show to the members across the country that the team of leaders that are there in PF, they don't care about the suffering of the people. They don't care about the fact that brothers like yourselves are running away from their own country. JJ is running away from his own country. Several others are in prison. And all these people are hopeful. All these people's hopes are tied in a day when a convention is held and leadership issues are streamlined. Now, as long as you continue postponing, you never come to a point where you are going to come to a conclusion and be able to choose a leader. These problems that the party is going through today is because there is no leader who has got the legitimacy. There is no leader who has got the support of the people around. The leader that we have was given to us as a transitional leader. And I think that that leader must understand that his role was transition. His role was to take the people to a convention so that they can be able to choose a leader. If he himself is convincing enough, he convinces the delegates at the convention, he can also be elected. And that is what will give him the legitimacy. That is what will give him the comfort to continue in that chair. As things stand, it is going to be very difficult for him to lead the party forward.
Thank you, Dr. Mwelwa. Thank you for your views, and that's why I brought an independent person to help me with the debate, because my analysis might be clouded because I'm an insider and I'm part of the leadership. Dr. Mwelwa, the approach you've taken has been all the anxiety we've held. In 2022, when the process was opened up, I am one of those that paid the 200,000 kwacha. I am one of those that hoped that we'll have the conference within 3 months. It's been 3 years. We haven't had the conference. What are the factors? I think let's look back. And if you will indulge me, President Edgar Lungu didn't resign. He, first of all, yes, after the inauguration of President Hakainde Hichilema, he came, he wrote a letter of resignation, gave a copy to the party, and gave a copy to the Secretary to Cabinet. And he said he had, after the failure and loss, he resigned. He called the Central Committee to come and now discuss his resignation and discuss his new proposals that given Lubinda should be acting president, was appointed vice president. Because remember, it's not only honorable, it's not only His Excellency the President Edgar Lungu, may so rest in eternal peace, who resigned. It was the vice president, Honorable Inonge Wina. It was the chairperson, Honorable Mukupa. It was the Secretary General, Davis Mwila. So the top 5 resigned. So the president came to the Central Committee meeting to tender a resignation, a formal resignation that he had done already, and circulated the letter to Secretary to Cabinet. And he wanted to tell them the decisions he had made now that he had resigned, that he had appointed, given Lubinda's acting as vice president of the party, and they should now set a pace for the conference. The Central Committee rejected the president's resignation. They said, you cannot leave us at this stage. The party will fall apart, there will be infighting, there is no leadership yet set. The Central Committee decided that the president could only be allowed to go on leave during this time, and you'll be called when the convention is held, in which then he was going to hand over to the new president, and that then Honorable Given Lubinda, who had just been appointed to replace Roy Nongewina, will, as vice president, will act as president to steer the ship to conference. So number one, President Lungu's resignation was immediately rejected at that Central Committee. That is a thought, that is a fact that is usually lost in this debate. And over time, there was issues of money. The party was attacked from day one. Senior members were already being arraigned, being searched, being locked up, being detained. And in many cases, I think they didn't have time. They didn't even convene as many Central Committee meetings as they should. While they were grappling with the process to go to conference, the top leaders, most of them, were either being arrested, detained, or were in court, or were at the police station, and there was just that chaos. SEC, DEC, you saw that somehow helped do the paralysis. But the Central Committee did make some progress. I remember that going towards 2020, end of 20, the first conference should have taken place June 2022. It was pushed to December 2022. Then it was pushed to June 2023. And the committee was set up, chaired by the chairperson, Honorable Davis Chama, who's currently in prison, to prepare. Number one, he was given tasks that he should go to visit party structures, establish if our leaders are still there, who form the list of delegates. He was also instructed to bring a report, come up with a budget for the conference. And by May 2023, Honorable Davis Chama and his team had done a wonderful job. They brought a bill of 6 million kwacha to host the conference. They brought a report about concerns around the constitution. Remember, our party constitution is from 2002, 2008. It's never been updated. There were concerns around the constitution that maybe the extraordinary general conference that would be there to elect a leader could also attend to constitutional issues. I remember the Central Committee immediately tasking, I think, Honorable Kasandwe, who I wanted to bring here as a researcher, to quickly now inquire into constitutional amendments, take what we call the Brian Mundubile draft constitution, and see what amendments could be done so that maybe when we go to extraordinary conference, the constitution can be adopted. We can hold also a constitutional conference a day before extraordinary conference. And dramatic things were happening. I think it had been 2 years we didn't hold the conference, and there was what was now being called the Alebwele Lapo agenda, where people began to call for the return of President Edgar Lungu because the PF was so severely attacked. Leaders were in court, were everywhere, and he's jogging and, he's going to church, just rekindled this process that he remained a very popular leader in our country. So there were this Alebwele Lapo agenda, which, rose, and it somehow disturbed the process. What do we do? Do we still go to conference? We were determined to go to conference. And then there was, that suspension, the famous suspension you're talking about, because Honorable Maro Sampa did some activities when Nakachinda was appointed, Honorable Raphael Nakachinda. Just to battle a bit, the Secretary General was acting Secretary General, Honorable Nixon Chilango. He had that case in Kawambwa, and at one time they issued a bench warrant and he went to safety, fled to safety for a period of over 3 to 4 months. That affected the work and, I think necessitated that the leadership must appoint Honorable Nakachinda. And Nakachinda was appointed. And another matter I need to bring to speed to you was that the entire time, if there's anyone who had frequent time with the former president, it was Honorable Given Lubenda, because he needed to consult on all these issues, all these boiling issues. We were fastened. We couldn't go into campaigns because the calendar was not out. Central Committee had not issued the calendar for everyone to campaign, but there were all these things happening. So Honorable Given Lubinda, to his credit, he would consult the president, and every time we held central committees, he would make reference to decisions he made, that he had sought the authority and consent of the president, who literally was on leave. And when the Alewele Lapo agenda was coming hot, you saw the Honorable Mausampa stage a protest at the secretariat when Honorable Nakachinda was promoted to his position as Secretary General. He accused Honorable Nakachinda of being a hijacker. That was his biggest grievance at the time. And before long, he held a press conference where he said disparaging things against members of the party and the senior leaders. And he was called to the Central Committee. And in the Central Committee, apologized. But of course, as you stated, the president, in his wisdom as acting president, still felt that although Mao Sampa had apologized in the meeting and the meeting had settled and said it was behind our back, Honorable Lubinda made that decision and suspended Mao Sampa. And then later we saw Mao Sampa stage an extraordinary conference, and we've been in court since then. So I thought I could provide the background and insight and information that may be missing to you and to the general public as we analyze. So let me bring you back on the floor to finish your thoughts.
Very well explained, Ambassador. You've given the background, which I have followed or equally followed. But if you look at the entire background that you have given, extraordinary circumstances require extraordinary decisions, require courage. For me personally, I argued, and I continue arguing that it was not necessary for President Lungu to come back to the political arena. That has been my position all this time. I thought that the man had saved the purposes of God for this generation, for this nation, and his time had come to an end with that election. And after leaving office, what was noble was for him to assist the party in identifying a successor whilst he was still alive. Whilst he was still there, it would have been much easier for him, even without holding a convention. If he just says, my wish is that Emmanuel Mwamba should take over from me, that word was enough to steer the party into a particular direction. But for having put Honorable Lubinda as an acting president, he was just in an acting capacity. Others in their wisdom say that he sat in that place to offer fatherhood to the party, because there was no father figure at the time, and he was the only one with so many years of experience. And apart from that, so advanced in age. With that wisdom, they thought that Honorable Lubinda can transition the party from the Edgar Lungu era to the new president that would be chosen by the party. But what has happened now is that within the Patriotic Front, there is no elder. There's no a father figure who must help this transition process, who must help in the electoral process. Everyone has become ambitious. Everyone wants to become the president. And even if you were to go to the convention today, Ambassador, I can assure you that you are not going to solve the problems of the Patriotic Front. What will come out of the convention is more confusion, because losers, even though they have come to your platform and they have said, if I lose, I will accept, they will not. Why? Because of the followers that are following them. Each one is telling them, you are the man. Each one is being told you are the man. So they are going into this conference with an ego, and even after the conference is over, there will still be a problem of division within the party. What personally I would have loved to see is consensus over a convention, so that even when you are going to a convention, you have one candidate. And all that the convention is going to do is to authenticate that candidate, to give legitimacy to that one candidate. But when you go to the convention with 10 candidates, believe me, you come back even more fractured as a party than you went into that particular convention. So what the blessing that could have been very helpful for us as Zambians was that if President Lungu had helped identify an individual to say he's running behind this particular individual, while he's still alive, than it is at the moment where everyone claims that they were, he said you are the one, he said you are the one, he said you are the one. So we are sitting in a situation where everyone lifts up their chest and thinks that they are the ones. A leadership without a successor is tragic. And this is why we are sitting where we are today. We must always, as leaders, plan a transition, plan for tomorrow. If I'm not there, who is going to take over my business? If I'm not there, who is going to take over my church? Who is going to take over my government? Our friends, the white people, they always plan ahead and prepare somebody to take over from them. The situation we are going through today is as a result of having failed to give us a successor. President Lungu had so much authority, he had so much influence, he had so much following, he had so much grace. His words could have solved all these problems that we are facing today.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. As I was stating, that we are discussing today the crisis that has besieged the Patriotic Front. It all started, in 2023 when the party was taken over. It has proceeded with Robert Chabinga now as a surrogate leader. Our leaders in parliament, Brian Mundwil as leader of the opposition in parliament was removed, and our whip, Honorable Stephen Kampiongo and Anton Kasandwe were also removed illegally, as we saw the actions that were done. And we've always stated that literally the president of the Patriotic Front currently is President Hakainde Hichilema, because he holds the pieces together. He's a puppeteer who puppets Robert Chabinga and others. Are there internal problems in the Patriotic Front? Clearly they are, as demonstrated over the weekend. What occurred over the weekend was an internal problem. The president felt in his discretion that something was amiss, and he suspended Central Committee, and he suspended 6 senior members he removed senior 6 members from the Central Committee. We have called for peace, for de-escalation, for calm, and we've called for reinstatement of the 6 as a gesture, just to unite ourselves with a unity of purpose. Dr. Mwelwa, there's something that has affected us. Which is infiltration. We have our members of parliament that have disowned and are disparaging the party. You have, for example, Robert Chabinga, who's leading this rebellion by, Mafinga MP. We have Chama MP. You have, for example, Anton Mumba. You have many people that have disparaged the current leadership of the party. There was even one time, a huge press conference by some MPs that demanded that Edgar Lungu resigns or retires, even if that could have been a genuine call. But it came from those that were working with the UPND. People didn't trust that sound advice. The PF has suffered infiltration. And it is an elephant in the room we fail to recognize, that Hichilema has been so determined on the project of the PF that he's killing it from outside, but also is using our own senior members to infiltrate the party. How do you deal with the issue of infiltration?
Ambassador, it's a very hard question. Infiltration in political parties has always been there. It's a hard question. And I think that this again goes back to leadership, because some of the people that have turned against you today are those that got their adoption by way of corruption. They bought their way. There were other members that genuinely supported the PF at the time who were left out, and certain individuals with huge penetrated. If they bought their way into the party, they are vulnerable to any form of corruption and infiltration from others, because what drives them is not leadership. What drives them is not party. What drives them is what I call politics of stomach infrastructure. What drives them is money on the table. If they are given money, they can do anything. So in dealing with infiltration, it's a very difficult thing at this point in time, but you could still weigh decisions, statements, actions, and look at the motivation behind those actions and so on. That is the only way you can be able to tell whether someone genuinely loves the party or somebody doesn't love the party. If, for example, the Zambians are crying that they don't want Bill 7, and then your member openly supports Bill 7, if the Zambians are crying about load shedding, they are crying about high cost of living, they are crying about a lot of things, then your member of parliament is siding with those people that are perceived to be perpetuating these things. You clearly are able to see that we have been infiltrated. And I think that action could be taken. The challenge is, can you take that action? The answer is why? Because in terms of legal technicalities, the official president of the party as at now, the one recognized by the system, is Chavinga. And so any action that against any of your members of parliament is not going or is not likely to take effect. So the process of screening, the process of sieving begins now. You can only be able to rectify this issue probably after the dissolution of parliament, when you now choose who is going to be on whichever party you are going to be able to, to identify with.
Yeah. No, thank you very much for that insight. Ladies and gentlemen, we are discussing the crisis in the Patriotic Front. On Friday, there were developments. The acting president, Honorable Given Lubinda, postponed the meeting that was scheduled on Saturday. This was a crucial meeting because it needed to approve the Electoral Commission, Independent Electoral Commission of the party. It needed to approve the delegates list, proposed delegate list. It needed to approve mode of how we're going to have this conference that is supposed to be due on Saturday. It also should have discussed the mode of how it was going to be held. So this matter caused consternation. One, in the structure of the decision. Number two, in the form of communication. It came on the eve of the actual Central Committee meeting. Number two, it was communicated not by those we know as mandated, such as the Acting Secretary General, Brenda Nyurenda Chisopa, or the chairperson of the party, or Honorable Given Lubinda himself, whose powers it is to convene the Central Committee. The following day, we saw the person who was removed, Honorable Emmanuel Mpankata, hold a press conference, denounced the appointment, said they were invalid because they didn't follow procedure, and even called for a Central Committee that was held. This morning, I did a piece where I analyzed all these factors, and I called on the president that he should use his mercy and discretion to reinstate the party for the benefit of the party And because we are so fragile at the moment, facing all attacks from everywhere, that it will be probably not be suitable that we should have these 6 senior members suspended or removed from the Central Committee. I pleaded that the president should use his powers and his discretion to reinstate them. And since then, there have been a lot of activities that have been taking place to, first of all, de-escalate the matter. Secondly, I'm just looking at some development that I want to give it to you just now, and it will help the analysis, my brother. Is Honorable Makebi Zulu has just addressed. Let me see if I can get that video quickly. Honorable Makebi Zulu has just announced that a meeting of senior leaders, presidential candidate, has just taken place, and he attended it. Let us see if we can play that video, because that's now latest. So there have been a flurry of activities, and I'm glad that Emmanuel Mpankata, the chairperson, spoke to Honorable Given Luwinda, the two, and there are some MPs, some members of the Central Committee that attended the Central Committee called by Honorable Emmanuel Mpankata, that were seen this afternoon with Honorable Given Luwinda, recognizing his leadership and affirming respect for the position of acting president. I think that was a good thing. And now we understand members, a presidential candidate met this evening. Let's hear from Honorable Makebi Zulu. I've just seen it online. I've just quickly downloaded it. Let's play. I don't know what he said. I'm also learning it now. I've just downloaded it. Let's hear that.
Fellow citizens, the resilience of the party to withstand external and internal conflict is unquestionable, as it has been tested over time. Once again, the Patriotic Front Party is challenged to rise to the call for unity and proven oneness and give hope to the nation. On behalf of all aspiring candidates, I have been authorized to issue this statement. Today, the aspiring candidates held a meeting at which the call to unity and resolution of perceived conflicts was highlighted under the guidance of the elders of the party, who included former Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Her Honor Madam Inonge Mutukwawina, Ambassador Paul Lumbi, and Honorable Ngongam Kupa, the former National Chairperson of the Patriotic Front Party. Following the initial talks, it has been agreed that the parties continue engaging in fostering oneness and unity of purpose. As such, the meeting resolved to propose to the Central Committee to postpone the holding of the proposed convention to a later date, as shall be decided by the Central Committee. May God bless our party as we work towards fostering unity both within the party and the country at large. I thank you.
That's a development. As you hear it, I'm hearing it for the first time as well. An announcement by Honorable Makebi Zulu, who says he's speaking on behalf of all other presidential candidates. And the seniors they met was Honorable former Vice President, Honorable Inonge Mutukwa Wina, and our former chairperson, Ngonga Mukuka, and others. And the presidential candidates have proposed that the upcoming conference be rescheduled and that Central Committee meet to decide on the new dates and new details. That's the development. Dr. Mwelo, what do you take of that announcement?
It's an interesting announcement. What makes it interesting is that there's consensus amongst the presidential candidates. The other thing that I thought they should have gone further to narrow down. They should narrow down to 1 or 2 or 3 presidential candidates. Honorable Ambassador, we cannot have a situation where you have 10 presidential candidates, which means 10 camps within the Patriotic Front. Each one is jostling for numbers. Everyone is for numbers. It will be helpful and it will show the Zambian people the seriousness. The moment everyone can assess themselves, do self-assessment. And Ambassador, I will tell you that I've been running constantly. I've been running polls to try and determine who is popular. Those results I can share with the candidates so that they can weigh themselves and see who should we leave in this race. We cannot afford to have 10 candidates. It just gives the general public, our followers, the people that love PF, that we are not serious about what we are talking about. Yes, it's democracy, but even in democracy, consensus is important. Those that are not able, they can just endorse the one that they feel can help, get us out of trouble. All the Zambians, including myself, are looking up to the Patriotic Front for our deliverance in this situation. So that's a good move, but I think it would have been better if it came with timelines. The Central Committee will be sitting on such a date so that they come up with a date. What the Zambians are interested in is the convention can be held. The modalities today, and I think the initial announcement said that this meeting will be hybrid. Hybrid meaning that others will sit in person, others can join using internet. There are various ways in which this can be done. So in time of innovation like this, we cannot completely depend on physical gathering in order for us to choose a leader. Secondly, because of the legal issues that are prevailing at the moment, a smaller group sitting with the rest of the membership joining online would actually make things easier so that a leader is named and the party is able to move forward.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me just play that again.
Fellow citizens, the resilience of the party to withstand external and internal conflict is unquestionable, as it has been tested over time. Once again, the Patriotic Front Party is challenged to rise to the call for unity and proven oneness and give hope to the nation. On behalf of all aspiring candidates, I have been authorized to issue this statement. Today, the aspiring candidates held a meeting at which the call to unity and resolution of perceived conflicts was highlighted under the guidance of the elders of the party, who included former Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Her Honor Madam Inonge Mutukwawina, Ambassador Paul Lumbi, and Honorable Ngongam Kupa, the former national chairperson of the Patriotic Front Party. Following the initial talks, it has been agreed that the parties continue engaging in fostering oneness and unity of purpose. As such, the meeting resolved to propose to the Central Committee to postpone the holding of the proposed convention to a later date, as shall be decided by the Central Committee. May God bless our party as we work towards fostering unity both within the party and the country at large. I thank you.
Thank you very much. It is clear I need to remove the box. Honorable Cassandra will probably not be joining us because I've seen that we have even reached the hour when we should open the phone lines. At this stage, let me open the phone lines. Dear viewers, continue to share the broadcast. Members of the Patriotic Front, you are concerned, listen to the broadcast, share the broadcast. It's now time to listen to your views. There's been a new development. A meeting was held this evening of presidential candidates and senior and elders of the party, led by Honorable Inonge Mutukwawina, at which there's a proposal that with the fracture that has emerged in the party, that there should be a reason to postpone the general conference due this Saturday, and that they should continue to foster unity. I guess Honorable Makebi Zulu, who's one of the presidential candidates, was tasked to make this announcement on behalf of the senior elders of the party and on behalf of the presidential candidate. The line is open. I'm discussing Patriotic Front issues in Chilefamule tukentungurusha nakana wakantamfia tamakula kwata forum. So be respectful in your cause. Let us be respectful. I know this is a painful process to everyone, but be civil, be respectful, I don't want to be on a platform where my leaders are being demeaned. So even when you are discussing, discuss issues, don't discuss personalities or insults. I beg you. Thank you. Dear caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mambat. Good evening, Dr. Mwera, my fellow writer. This is Zephania Perry. I'm calling from...
You and Dr. Mwelo are prolific writers like myself. We analyze every details. Welcome to the debate.
Well, thank you very much. Actually, I am happy what I've heard, what Honorable Makebi has said, and that is a very good development for the Patriotic Front. What I wanted to add on is that in Patriotic Front, we are known that most of the time, whenever there is a situation, they always come together and resolve this issue. But most of the time, I have observed that our leaders, most of the time, whenever there is an issue, a pertaining issue, they always rush into the media. This is where they need to show leadership. You know, media, it always project that there is a lot of infighting when an issue which is supposed to be resolved is an issue which they can sit down on a round table and resolve it. What happened, I didn't expect that it will go as far as this, because when Acting President Honorable Given Rubinda issued that around 23 hours, those who were aggrieved, I was expecting that they could sit down and resolve and come together. But our leaders, most of the time, they always, because of what what Dr. Mwira said, there are too many camps. Each and everyone wants to prove that their candidate is the best. Their candidate is the best. The best are also second what he has said. PF, this is an internal democracy. Why can't they sit as they are sitting next Central Committee? Let them sit down and resolve and come up with a candidate. Even when they are doing that, it should be just for formality to, like Article 60, because people will say it wasn't democratic. But among themselves, they should agree. The positions which are in the party, there are many. Zambians are depending on the Patriotic Front so that they can form government. When you look at UPND, they will take advantage so that the PF is splitted more, so that the more Chavinga drama will continue. Because this is where now our leaders should show that they love Patriotic Front. They should take it personal. They should protect the party, not as individuals. And this is where I've seen our leaders, they are maybe sometimes lacking. So what is important, and most of the time when there is such, let them quickly, without embracing the media. We should only see munganda bamwamba every time umwana kashinga gafuma yamkutukana pansi na chupo chirapwa. So the best is that kulaba sometimes na nguma umeara sunda munganda umwana kashara sunge nkama. So let's keep our leaders, they should keep that secret for Patriotic Front. We are already fighting with Chavinga. It shouldn't go further. This is what I can say so that others they can add on. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me take this call. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. Anonymous kunoka Kaputa Mkwai.
Mkwai mwewe na Kaputa.
Mkwai. Naba kusaba Dr. Mwelwa.
Mkwai. But Dr. Lawrence Mwelwa.
Thank you to kemo sana mwa isabu balanda efficiency ndekele ko panuma na ino ina mashimi nkwete ku mutima wanje nyaya yalanda ababandu mesu bafumapo nyaya kilanda bamwelwa bene pakwamba ifo fyako butukila panse bwangu mukushimikila ekyalo ifo kyabefi awe kwena ifo tuinge kalefyo aka no fe katika na lisunguluka sana lintu na mwene first na tumfa wa president acting president Lubinda na chibili pachirifi ukisa umfa next about him that the fire ama officials ya PF abakulu ndi mfafi amashinda bonse naseka nati nangu danfumu ensomo mala mwiresa. There's something wrong which must be quickly corrected. Shibe na how, but we thank God to mfanye mbile iba Makebi Zulu baleta. Mkwai. Nomba ichikamba na chitumina chimbini chichako ipisha ba Dr. Mwelwa. Ni Mwelwa na Mwewa. Ukuti ndio twamuna bachabinga batita filesho batita. Twalishwa n'omushira wakira kintu ko kifumine. Na chine mwe basambirira mulero ndo kutila legally. Ichi kintu kiri mu mino yakwachabinga. Lero ebumba liri na imwe bashara kunse. Ba Dr. Mwelwa, ushe chine kiri legally correct. This thing, is it legally correct that bachabinga fresh paper abakwata bali n'ensambu yakutila efu kikatwalirira okuba? Tapali posa mu illegality apapene nangu twalimu na pollution yonse ku justice system yesu. Kusanso kwa balubinda kukabwe babombele palifi kwa yafumenti lubundi shimbi. Nizo mulamu shiku last week chabingale pupu mukale landa takwa kabe PF convention ikabako mu 2027 pakutira pano pakati apembelele bapishe chipani cha PF bachikumbinkanye kuli the ruling party. Ba doctor nkashi ni political history nshituleba aligned to kuno kuino kubasungu okwo kuino kubasungu muri bamwamba balembo kutila democracy ala abashani democracy unatu muna bakateka besu eba tunine kire kintu mukyalo mu muri cyberlo nibani bapere mausamba ba Dr. Mulonda Mulondo no kwati pali why you missed time ba PF no mwalire ku convention wangu mouse ngatachi fila paona chabinga number. When we know very well, ini chitikile hachila chintu, yadu kwatomushila chimbwe, mboku jani chipali ukwa shintilile. Honestly, kula kushintila kwa ba mouse na ba chabinga. Is it still, or will it ever always be at chililigo? Takuli system winga bakanya bali abantu kwe batiwesheni, ichi pepala cha PF kubeni bachipani, pantu musangu makwatila moteo. Okay, mule mwamchana ishui, they hijack. Ngabachita hijack mshenji fyabo. Chisungu icho kuti banondobera ku fedha nomba ngabachita hijack change system yala abasuminisha kuti bakwate chile chipani ichi pepala ichilelo ndolo kubapo kwa chile chipani takuli fe chintu chingachitika nangu chimwe bonse mwe basambira takuli fe wengatunga pokutila ichi chipani mwaibirefi nombe fumali batwamika tapantu yakumushipe kalefe nena alimwepo umuntu aibefi akufuala ayashitisha kumbi abeni bafi akufuala bafishwa baisamuweshe bamutwala kukapokola bamwe kata abeni bapere mboni atufyeso. So can't it be seen that wakabati baka bachabinga chichipepala bale yimi napo ama baka ukutita kwa kabe PF convention until 2027 change kwa labela ukuchita align an opposition party with seats in parliament to a ruling party mwe bantu basambira chi ni history ya politics ya kwiseyo niba nani bale quoting hati efo chifiri okuba efo chali na efo kuti chabefi mushita kuli fechi ngachitike chingakanyo ila pokaini chipepala chipele ni ba PF abene chabinga ngole fire boykala kuli ba PF banobe na hiso ne bala ndati tulipira 200,000 kwacha to be a presidential candidate. Wow, na tumfafe mwafunda ba Dr. Mwelwa ukweba ati mwafulisha bane bweshenya niko pamnono musa alipofula munangu babiri ebo bakalikula kuntanshi na uwine ka yese alete abikepo no loba lela ndokwe bati naluchepa probably nuka bakolu ingirira plus 200,000 kwata palushiripo efo nde ipushe from kwa ina lande fingi ili ipushe yandi kutila ichi chintu abaha chita hijack chichi chile iti woku baliko ukutila ukwete chipepala legally niulia although akwete legally busheta chichitile akwaya illegally ba Dr. Mwelwa we ipushe wanju. Thank you mkwai.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello caller.
Hello.
Yes caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
I'm Reverend Given Katuta Mwewa.
Mkwai mayo balishani.
Iwamtende nebo shuma people at the same time nebo politician.
Mkwai. No, I know you are speaking in your own right. I know I'm privileged to host your husband, but you have your own political mind when it comes to politics. So you are protected. Offer your opinion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, Mba. I'll use English and Bemba. Bamwamba. I'm a very disappointed Zambian. And I say so because when you look at, if there's a small bridge and there's one goat coming from this side and the other one will give way. Yala ichefe inanko ipite upakwe wati, shonse shipite wino kwa lokupone na mwisa, bumish. No mbecho PF. Mwaona ule miosha abantu Zambia. Why am I saying so? Where there's democracy, there shouldn't be so much of greed and selfishness that Zambia is experiencing now. The Zambians themselves cannot go to parliament, all of them cannot be politicians, but they have that faith that we have, we are in a democratic, dispensation where we expect to have political parties. But the main opposition party that Zambians know of, despite its flaws, is PF. What is so painful is that it's called patriotic. And the look of things, the PF, you do not understand the word patriotic. If you were patriotic and you had that patriotism within your hearts, you would not do what you're doing. We are where we are because of leadership failure within PF. When Mao Sampa had the party in his hand, I used to speak to some individuals. Go and beg him. There's nothing wrong. In politics, it's about stupidity. When I say stupidity, you have to look like a fool. But PF akatutumushi, they thought Mao Sampa was joking. You cannot fight with somebody who has power in the hand. So no, Imoba PF, you should be held accountable for what Zambians are facing right now. All the discrimination that we're seeing in our country is because of your carelessness. You were so careless with the power you had, which God gave to you. No, mbecho trefo kumirombako. Already, Mlenangshat, you're so careless by having 4 million aspirants as presidents within the party. That's not democracy. It's greedy, selfishness, and I don't even know what to call it. You, the men, you have, maybe if you had even said, let's have a female within Patriotic Front, maybe to run the race. But because all you want is power, fame, and money. This is where we are. And now people are looking at PF as a joker. You are jokers. I'm saying this because I'm worried about the democracy of the country. Instead of even cash mumfane kofi uliapa mwayabula na bantu aba mu diaspora you support you uyakutuko you akutuko uli bumunina, and you expect Zambians to have such kind of leadership in 2026 because you have not changed. So therefore the reason why God has allowed Chavinga kusenda chida because mwebe ni mweka mlikwati na mayole sa pele chupo ero aba careless umupoka. So therefore kulanda kukuli ngoba PF imwe kwambira kuli ba given Luvinda katwishi democracy mnaitulanga twalimona UPN jitamwa ba democracy, and I'll say this unapologetically. I'll say this. But UPN jitamwa ba democracy. It's a reason they had a leader pakaba mtuwala kulia. Constitution ya wenda under 2 years mena bare afi shofi. And that thing here bamu UPN echo baletana governance ya Zambia. Echo balefuna kuchinja constitution, bena tabamu anything wrong. Muntu mo inale afi shofi. So the same thing, imoba PF, ukwangala. Imota mwamonati, this you're playing with the lives of people of Zambia. Imomulefu for leadership. So imoba PF, my trefo kufa, ine parwandi. You are jokers, I don't know kula kutukilo tuma press uyapa, I'm the president. China land defense fwilo kulanda ni pamuelapa, but eche tule lombako, on behalf of the reasonable Zambians, trefo ametuko mfafeti babili, but given Luwindoko mule mfwile, if you mule chitata fiwe me, you're not patriotic. You are a leader at the same time, mrefu kumina bukateka. Instead, total confusion. Why is your husband even supporting them? Because even a baby can see that it's about power and money. Because we president na leader wa political party, impia bagesa apokesha isha campaign shingi. Esha balefwa. Tamani serious ukumuna democracy atu wali mchalo cha Zambia. Now you have just concentrated on this. Ichalo cheo na ukoko. Ifintu file chitika. Bill 7 ikese pita no kupita. No one is even looking at the democracy of our nation. Nami lomba mkwa inecho ndefo okulanda ko mwana ne ntungulu shishenu that council of elders bale pitana mu naba kwatana already candidate ba kuli uyu ikatishanye but never send a candidate mu mutima. It doesn't go like that. We don't need such kind of council of elders. We need who are non-partisan, who are going to help. Please, Zambians, they don't even know where to look to. So they lomba ko feini, chintu fe chimu. They can look over jokers va PF. People now, they are fed up. Anyway, thank God that in day. But guys, I'm Bishop because you guys, you are not serious.
Mark tumasondwelela
kwa kwebati imwe ba PF mweba ume mwaba mu PF panti momwe kafi mulete mwa kalulete. Stop it. Saleni fia na ngumo fia na fia babiri tafikwete nchito abe nenu ba imlanga ba UPNG bemini kafi omuntu mu ine bale fano kuleta na kuchalo chonse. Do the same thing so that twishibe which one abantu bawo bakulalumba na totela mkwai.
Thank you very much. I've got a caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Sencho Banda.
Honorable Sencho Banda, welcome.
Thank you very much. I just want to comment on the postponing of the convention. So my take is that postponing the PF party conference is a strategic and necessary step to safeguard the legitimacy, unity, and the long stability of the party. I'm of a view that holding the conference amidst the current internal disorganization characterized by leadership disputes, active factions, contradictory decisions, risk producing a contested and legally vulnerable outcome. And currently, you agree with me, Ambassador Mamba, that we have organization instability. The party is presently facing serious structural instability. On one end, the acting president dismissed 4 Central Committee members, among them the party national chairperson and the Secretary General. Yet again, the chairperson, national chairperson, publicly rejected the dismissal. So these unresolved contradictions create leadership vacuum and uncertainty over who has the legitimate authority to preside over the conference. And furthermore, in this postponement, what it does, it allays the risk of power structure and illegitimate outcomes, with factions openly competing for influence. Holding the convention in these states now could lead to parallel convention, disputed results, walkouts, and so on and so forth. So what this postponement does is that it provides for internal reconciliation and conflict resolution. So before a new president, the party must have first addressed the underlying internal conflicts. Because a rustic conference would only formalize factional division So I think this postponement, what it has done is to allow time to establish mechanism for mediation and also reconciliation, and also to provide for clear procedure and guidelines to ensure that all the groups feel represented. And like you did hint in your article, Ambassador Mamba, that would do it also ensure a free and fair and a credible election process. So what it proposed, the credible party elections or conference require a clear delegate register, transparent rules, and recognized leadership structure. At the moment, none of these conditions are guaranteed. So postponing the conference ensures that the process is not only democratic but also beyond a dispute. So basically, so for me, this postponement is not a sign of weakness, but it's a pragmatic approach to avoid the fraud process or protect the integrity of the party. And a stable and united and credible PF only emerged after resolving the current leadership disputes. So therefore, a delay but a properly managed conference will deliver a leader who command the broad legitimacy and also strengthen the party prospect and ahead of the future elections. But like also our leaders, when issues start coming out of conflict, they should stop to go to the media. The internal mechanism, processes, leadership in place to ensure when these conflicts arise, there are mechanisms on how best things can be handled. I think that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I gave a lot of time to Honorable Sencho Banda because he played the key role. He was one of those that sat after 2021 and the party tasked him to do a postmortem. And some of the recommendations that were made, including the resignation of the top six, was a recommendation coming from Honorable Sencho Banda's committee. And the proposal to hold a general conference shortly after that was a proposal that came from the committee of Honorable Sencho Banda. That's why I gave him a lot of time. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Greetings to you, Ambassador John Maru Italy kwa Papa.
Mkwai, mwena Italiano, make your contributions.
Mkwai, thank you. I just have a question, Ambassador, for you also. Now, I'm a leader of the Patriotic Front. I'm sure they are born leaders in this party, but surely a legacy, if you chalaba fefine kuri legacy of Michael Sata. He started the party, is one of the most patriotic leaders Zambia has ever had. And he left this world as an incumbent. And now we have another president under this political party who died as a former head of state, and he hasn't even been buried yet. And one of the reasons why the Patriotic Front lost power is because of quite lack of leadership. Sure, after all these things, people have not learned anything, and the unprecedented situations that the Zambian people have been subjected to afterwards, the aftermath of everything that has happened in our PF, sure, people with inflated egos, people with an exaggerated self-image, legacy sure.
Thank you. Italiano, thank you. Honorable Mabo is a leader in Italy. He heads the Zambian community in Italy and is a regular contributor to this program. I'm grateful. Thank you, sir. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Thank you, Ambassador Mamba. Thank you. My name is Nyangwe Dani from Canada.
Yes, thank you.
Ambassador Mamba, this is a very important topic, especially for people that love democracy. Why do I say this? Democracy is a key for national development and a key to champion good governance. What is happening in PF, if people don't know, these things happening in PF are sponsored by the enemies of PF. And who is the greatest enemy of PF? the person that sponsored Mao Sampa is the greatest enemy of PF. PF, one thing I've liked about PF, despite every challenges that they have gone through, there is still a party that they are loved by people. But the thing is, what we are asking now today is this. The people that do not love PF, they are the number one people that are creating a lot of confusion in PF. We should not allow this to be happening in Mwamba. And then at the end of it all, for me, I'm looking at it, I disagree with the Honorable where he says we should just choose democracy. We're not going to be like them, but a political leader, convention. What PF is doing is what democracy is. Let the party choose who's going to be the leader. For me, I think what PF needs is structures that will need a leader who's going to be the appointed leader, and that appointed leader should take the powers of the party and do the right thing. The convention, as much as we can, there are two things here. I would ask and I pray to Given Lubenda. By Given Lubenda, call people, even the people that are not supporting you, go for a meeting, sit and iron out issues, and then have the convention. The convention, we are going to elect a leader who is going to be the PF leader and who is going to be the leader of the party that everyone should listen to. We are praying for peace and let us not lose our focus. Thank you, Ambassador Mwamba. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, I think this is our caller from Kabwe. Hello, can you tell us your name and where you are calling us from?
Yes, good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Yes, I want to acknowledge your. I want first of all to acknowledge your performance, which is not bad. You stood the ground, and that is the kind of leadership we want everyone who is competing for this presidential race to portray. What we have seen is our current leadership is lacking maturity. Our current leadership is lacking vision. What we want to see credibility leadership, like how we talk about. We want to see our leaders embracing us, all of us around here. And we just don't want to make a mistake just because of my election that 2050 that we are very certain that before that spend that they want to. Let us speak of the popular background, the mature party. And therefore from the function to make sure that starting over Mwamba. If you don't know what to do, I think that's the if you don't know what to do, I think that's na abantu bafunga party kubiyo abafana party bagize ndinda bapure party nayo bapure ya ndio kufanya mbaya abantu let's kalanga ya abantu. That's what we are calling upon him. There's so much respect for him and for what he has done, but let him also gather people at this time of people. But we require no let him find out the truth and ask to consult to do. We need to have leadership vibrant. Not to put on no vacancy Vashirandi, at Kushani, we have to appoint such and these others. No, let's not take that route. Again, to the what that's why Davis Munda, but Davis Munda, but one Garabi, I want to want to same but not one to one thing. Let us unite each and every one of us. That's why leadership here. We want to do. But the umuntu from nowhere afumo ko ambu kura nini cyaro kwa business. Uko na mudala wa kubize because What comes when what happens when there's some power? Bambo kuna kitu na mimi naomba kusema no makamu kuomba. Ekeni mko tulikuwa leadership ni hapa kwa siaba hivi kwa Golungu. Ni kupua. Ndio Michael Sata. Ni kupua.
Thank you, Bakunda. Thank you very much. Lekeni abalelo lela bafula. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Ambassador Mulishan kwai.
Iyo ndife wino bane Mulishan na imwe.
Inaisha myebeshi na liandi. Kuma ndefwa afenda ndepo fotuma shwipa no. Wa kuwa doctor. Wa ambassador problem ili MPF. Ngamwa ikonka sana. One of the areas which has created problem, my members of parliament. I'm members of parliament, but it's not to understand a political ideology of the Patriotic Front. The question is, Bushama members we suava PF, but konka ideology achipani chavo, pandwe kufumine problem. Problem of if ngamule kushawa UPND ili bali mu opposition bali katene bonse ama MP ebalelanga direction nomba ama MP naba ipatula first ama MP nangwali kwete candidate wabo obale fayati abe presidential candidate wa PF ngabali chifishileko nomba ama MP baya chita indozo umuntu umo na ile onse mwene kuliba given lubinda ilia na ngwintungulushi ile chita acting na ngwififyonse ngamwali sta respect ideology ya chipani chenu kuichindika mwaipelo mchinshi. For what I'm seeing, why the reason even were given lubinda wa Stelefilia, he thought that other people are trying to undermine this authority. Yes, but given Rubinda has been acting since late President Lungu resigned and gave him that authority. Also, we should also appreciate the little he has contributed to hold the party together. Nama MP balinga abantu abakutungulira ekipani pamu bonse twaba pamu ngachali bwino na confusion eko ifumine because ngamwamona nomba ama MP ever start present ekipani bakwata candidate. Before they do that, ingayo propose balela nankwali kwikala pamuosa ama candidate kwa boku mfana limbi twasala ama candidate batatu oba 3 badifi akwebo kweba tumusale omuntu imo au democracy yakana ngeofina abambi balandile po democracy file alanga mchalo abantu bafile bamuno kweba ati PF is a democratic party balasa lentungusho that process if you akushita favor abantu awe hello two to fail to understand what is our political ideology as a Patriotic Front. It is very important. That we understand if also let's understand our brothers from the UPND, what has made them from 2001 up to 2021 and they formed the government. Because vali katene, ichi shupile mu PF, ni munda, ufafati ni nebo, paka nefine fiambo kuchitike fintu hivyo. Otherwise, my humble request is to the members of parliament. Na vena basta contribute because they have already taken side and others feels like ngaifwe without even sitting together. Na hobe ba doctor bali hapo. Na bakwata candidate wabo. Na hoba kasando mwachifo kuleta hapo na hoba support candidate umowine. Even to vyonse fi ilo le funyaka kamunolo mulinso tampira kowe mulinso first na ba mayobene bayumpi bakuchenge na bena nabakwata candidate mu PF so fonse fi umutembo ufile waleme na consequence
Walalemena kuli wale supporter na walemene kuli ba given Rubinda. Yelo ni show twala muna kwa tinomba na utungurushi mu PF wala babwino wala tukonka. Yelo na fimbi. Tufoto wako na sensitive. Tuishona ba given Rubinda where has come from with the Patriotic Front neko balina kuli ino. No mutembo onse ufilo walemena consequence. Ngeshona walemena ku Northern Province, Eastern Province, Western Province, na Southern Province. Ufilo walemena consequence. Isheri ala tuafwa. Elo futi.
My brother, my brother, quickly, I've got so many people waiting. Quickly, wind up. Iyo banenga na meleka ngatamwa ngamwapuisha bambita balandeko. Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello, good evening, Ambassador. Ni wa Mkonge aba.
Mkwaiba Mkonge mwa Bombeni.
Yeah, Mkwaiba Ambassador first naraba nyino kulanda pali imomwema mweba lipire mpia sha presidential. Ukulingana no wana nyina wa PF apota pabo bwa ferma mwalishuba. Ifintunga fya bapachu wanzabe ngi kuti stand munshira imbi. Wanza bali pire mpia sho nenda batotera sana bali temwe chipani. Nisho batemwe ne chipani. Tekweba tukonsa waba lipire mpia ni baka itemwe barefu obutungurushi. Ichipani chira kwata ma fundraising munshire sharp sana mpia mwali pira bonza ma 200. Tekweba ti muntunga hapo na nishi tete apoka ila 200. Oronga tatemenwe ichipani tete alipira na 200. Kutia ibomfyafe kuli fimbi. Ero shire mpiero mwali pira na shikwato mulimo muchipao ofo shingafwa. It is a part of fundraising nishumulelanga ifyo mwate mwishe chwe chipani. Nomba fyasa leta uwa fya mkurekelela. Fyasa leta uwa fya mkurekelela because abasala president party kecharo chonse. Nomba chasa leta ukwebati yaba nomba ma content ya kwebati pa social media ukura iranga bantu nangu bakumona tuli popular. Tapali bafyara bomba. Fya kwisa romba mukura ishitisha nijino party president. Then pambindefo kustako fya advice. Nchirefwaro kukomaira sana pa bantu bamopantu bonse bantu bandi. Ndelanda pali wa Rusato wa Davis. Wa Davis na bakokora sana ni ba veteran no mu bapita mwafula. Apa baba kwati babana pachuti. So all bale chita approach ama issues bale basana sensitive. Semuna ba mama ba mumbipiri bena na limona bali fe wino nomba pa. Wonse bali ama veteran. Tabafere bale ingira fast mufintu. Why nalandire fi kwali era ilyaba bamundubire baire kuri bazumani kuri barubinda bali sasangwa barubinda bafyashi naba kuroro barubinda mo bapita mwali fula bakwa fya PF ikali hapo mutima wali pia so sometimes umufyashi nga wabombesha sana para fwa kwa na parapa kwebati pota ole utukira bambi bakwa afwa ko mutima waikara ko panshi nombanga chako batu bamufyashi nawo kula again ure imina fya bana ko balingira abana kwafwa ufure wabafo ni mwa mutima uresa mukuvutika ukukwate chifushi umufyashi asitana active kutaringiro okuchita so barubinda tufurito bapera ko umuchinyisa no rufya chitige kuri bazumani kulya tapali ba member of parliament abafire ko ba given rubinda bali reri ashira bazumani mpaka lyapwa pa batondoro tu ndesta ko advise bamundubire chichipa nchenu muibutuka sana pantonga mwabutuka sana parasti kutumwa isanga kwa abantu n'abamipata bamundubire namukwata amakaya akwima n'okukanya bwama MPs kwe batawe mwe ba MP alikuwa abantu amamemba Zambia yonse kuno abafire banta support mwamuli ntungurushi na ndi ntungurushi pero kuri abantu bo tulidinga abafire bayimini na ku front ya kwe bati bambyo kuranda cyo fotre fo abamundubire because baraba MP na bena bali aba MP bakababike panshi bakachita apologize fira bachitire division number 1 tafyali wino elio again na ila press conference after barubinda bachitafira so barana bena bapangire press conference chama finalero na bekara bachitari konsao bali rufyanya pantoro wa mfomu fyasha kweba amashu ayabi tawambyo kubilikisha first ufira baikara panshi wa mukonkana nguni munganda nomboye mufyashinge fwaranda tine ndale panze nara yakwisa nangu barubinda bali pangara decision bali abale panga conference state baranda tyo barerorera barubinda ti bafe barandire because barabali ishone cyarengira ati barubinda bakitefira ifuta to ayishe bali mukati kamutima wabo nabe ishone fya kitire cause cyakwa ati barubinda bakite ash nani kane ya decision. So MP please. Oro number 2, especially wa mundubire. Baba bike panshi kunkongotera okubika po bamama bayinonge bonse barabachikumana pali abara bonse barabachikumana okuleta ekiwote bakonkanye pono kweba bamundubire bamonefo barasunga ekipanyi we baleirako bamundubire barabavana lepo kuroko bali ate kuchipanyi awo kuroko bali ate kuchipanyi mwera pera audience abantu nchitaya kupera audience tairafika because bonse abambi abali eminina abanshimwanemo ama dangers ali yonse but pali bamundubire nimbona ko danger so bagwerera ko punch panono babenga PF ngoba nani nangefe twayikara abantu tubamona kwati ba PF bachimufurunganya bashandero ngawaingira mukati ka PF ro ingeshi ba PF fo yaba
bamunkonge sondweleleni bamunkonge sondweleleni
step ile fo kusenda bamundubire balibo sheko panono sana balibo sheko because kuti atletera obusanso but kuri once ama candidates tapali obo nkwete po mwenso nipali bamundubire barandira ama supporters babo fe bale chitama supporters babo iyo leadership bale pera bamundubire tairafika awe babareke babe free as a candidate abene beka firafina abantu babeshiba nakare firafina n'abantu bangesa abasara ifibare fu abare panga ma ingredients ino nshita yako bapera beshi byokwe bati bare bona olafi pali ino nshita awe ngabare fu okwe bati bakalitinge chironganino babwerere panshi nabonse abale basupporta
thank you wa munkongere Kenya abantu bafula baletuma wa munkonge Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Yes, mwewena mwense London po bane
obwafya mukwete kyakubali twesi mbale abarende besu kumuli nabena
emkwa epo bachiri
kyakuto obwafya mbale mwe bamwamba wesu muleko kolo kwasuka mwalishi bafwe botwikala kuno kumushi
mwebaleko kola mwebale isa pa mulelanda sana so swende ambeni bwangu mwebafyashi
bamwamba iyo mwatampire iyi program fo twalilandiro kwebati mwaliletere baunalepo kana besa bakibeni rubinda mwalete basa kwiba skota insha kwanishe nebo kubarumbura bose twatire kwebati kuli nembele wikakwate obuchenjeshi emashu twalerani nalalanda kusupawira bamwamba ayo mashu ifwe twalirani teba mwamba abo bantu mwaleta twapapata fwe butrefaya wikabo obuchenjeshi kuntaji butreya nombe fitwambo kumfa chikala mbecho twingalanda kufwe buchakwe bati mwachita bwino pokuleta iyi program okwebati mwalishi bapekeri abantu palabo tunkoferero abantu bene ebatupwisha natotera bamwamba.
Oh, thank you very much. That was brief mwewena mwense Natasha sana. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
Yes caller, please tell us who and where you are calling us from.
Hello, am I just okay? I'm calling you from Lusaka.
Thank you very much. Make your contribution.
This is yes. I would like to comment on the situation on what is happening in PF.
Thank you.
So I would like to just to give just an encouragement to everyone in PF. I'm one of the concerned citizens. I've been listening to this program for a long time, and we've been waiting for PF to just settle themselves, and we are waiting for one candidate. It is very hard. Let me just speak in Nyanja. It's Davuti Kabantu from Zambia. Right now, I can attest. I'm a single parent. Life is not easy for me. So, teacher tekeramuli ba PF. Ba PF wakasicha organize. They give us just one candidate, so that we should vote for them. Please, let's put everything in God's hands, because whatever situation is happening right now, I think it's let me not say I think. Let's put everything in God's hands. Something big is happening. There's no way people are going for a convention and such things start happening. Let's put our knees together. Let's pray for this country. Us here, Zambians, on the ground, we are suffering. And like for me, I'm a single parent. We are suffering, I'm telling you. So people in PF, let's pray, and let's pray for all the leaders to put their hands together. That's what I can contribute.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There is a senior leader of our country who has written to me. He also remained anonymous, but this is what he has written. President Lungu appointed Honorable Given Lubinda as acting president, immediately lost power in 2021 elections. Is that not an indicative enough that President Lungu wanted and trusted Lubinda to take over from him? When Sata was going to London for treatment, he left Lungu to act, and that was the reason most party members, including Chairperson Inonge Wina, supported and facilitated Lungu's PF presidency in order to ensure the party remained united. Lungu was not the best within PF, but Mrs. Wina realized that leaving the person that was elected by the immediate past and late president would leave the party united. When Dr. Mwelwa says Dr. Lungu didn't have succession plan, he is not right. If Lungu didn't have a succession plan, he would not have re-emphasized that Lubinda was both acting president of PF and also chairperson of Tonse Alliance when there was that wrangle that broke out in Tonse, and he was attending to his well-being in South Africa. I'm sure you remember that statement, Mr. Mwamba, that he issued somehow to blast Honorable Sean Tembo, and that who had belittled Honorable Lubinda. What is happening now, because Lubinda didn't show greed by consolidating power around himself, but ran the PF democratically, and in my view, he didn't abuse his authority. Lungu was the same initially. He never bulldozed his way. If it was not for Willie's Sanders' assertiveness and yourself, it would have been derailed and the UPND would have won the 2015 presidential election. Guy Scott did his best to ensure that Lungu failed in 2015 elections. What worked for Lungu? And the part, just a minute. Guy Scott did his best to ensure that Lungu fails in the 2015 elections. What worked for Lungu is because he had people like Insanda, Kambwili, yourself, Emmanuel Mwamba, Vachkwanda, who organized for him within the party. And the chairperson, sensing the mess Guy Scott was planning, worked very cleverly and swiftly worked around Guy Scott to ensure that Lungu became the PF leader to offer the wishes of the late president and the wishes of the members. I agree, however, with Dr. Mwelwa that too many candidates will split the party, and some losing candidates may form breakaway parties. The best person need not to be party president and presidential candidate for a party to succeed. Okay, thank you very much. He was a senior person. He sent that text. Let me take two more or so calls, and then I wind up the debate. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Hello, Ambassador. My name is Uncle Jay.
Uncle Jay, make your contribution, sir.
Thank you very much. I'll quickly go on. You know, what the PF must understand is that they are holding people's hopes.
Mm-hmm.
They are holding people's hopes. And this thing is a nationwide kind of a feeling. Our hope are really vested in PF. My appeal to Honorable Given Lubinda, he must have a big heart. What has been happening this far testifies to the fact that there could be some loopholes that he could be having as a leader. This issue of rushing to the media, you know, on issues that can easily be resolved on a round table, because I know that thing that happened was a misunderstanding that just required people to come together. Those people are learned people and they are sober. But they should not subject us as Zambians to this frustration. UPND has done more damage to us already, and they should not be part of the challenges we are facing. They should be giving us hope. When I look at this race, it's very clear that already you can tell that we've identified people that are front runners. And we need to streamline this, to make things easier. And this postponement, let them give us, because we are so frustrated as Zambians. Let them give us specific dates and say on such and such, because we don't want this to continue dragging. We had hoped to say something is going to happen. And that Chalinga guy will be silenced the moment we choose a leader. Please, but given Rubinda, we plead with you. Act as a leader. Please don't use emotions. We are dealing with, millions of people's hearts and minds. Our lives are on a standstill as we speak in Zambia because of what UPND has done to the nation. We can't continue. You are literally killing us emotionally. Please put your house in order. We want to make progress as a nation. I thank you, Bamwamba.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me bring in Dr. Mwelwa to respond to some of the questions that have risen and begin to provide his last remarks. Dr. Mwelwa, I kept on allowing these phone calls because I noticed your internet collapsed and you disappeared for a while. So I used the opportunity to take as many calls as possible. Please respond to some of the views and then make your closing remarks.
Thank you very much. I will only respond to the anonymous elder who was written saying the appointment of Honorable Given Rubinda as acting president was an endorsement of his successor. I respect that post, but I want to be him because if he wants respected, the endorsed successor was always close president.
Oh, the network is terrible.
Communicated to it.
Fellow citizens, the resilience of the party to withstand external and internal conflict is unquestionable, as it has been tested over time. Once again, the Patriotic Front Party is challenged to rise to the call for unity and proven oneness and give hope to the nation. On behalf of all aspiring candidates, I have been authorized to issue this statement. Today, the aspiring candidates held a meeting at which the call to unity and resolution of perceived conflicts was highlighted under the guidance of the elders of the party, who included former Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Her Honor Madam Inonge Mutukwawina, Ambassador Paul Lumbi, and Honorable Ngongam Kupa, the former national chairperson of the Patriotic Front Party. Following the initial talks, it has been agreed that the parties continue engaging in fostering oneness and unity of purpose. As such, the meeting resolved to propose to the Central Committee to postpone the holding of the proposed convention to a later date, as shall be decided by the Central Committee. May God bless our party as we work towards fostering unity both within the party and the country at large. I thank you.
Let's try it. Maybe the internet will hold again, because I noticed that it was not holding. But begin to continue. We hope that you respond and then make your concluding remarks. Oh, I see we still have a challenge of internet. Oh, okay. Thank you, dear viewers, and thank you, dear listeners, and thank you for the course. Today we're discussing the turmoils and crisis in the Patriotic Front. I wish to respond to key issues, multiplicity of candidates, and issues of endorsement. On multiplicity of candidate, The process is open. It's an internationally held process. Even in the US, they start even as big as 16 candidates. And the elimination process and the primaries knock those out. I wish that in Zambia, we can perfect the process in which candidates are whittled down until you have probably 2 front runners. So the multiplicity of candidates, in my view, doesn't divide the party. No, it demonstrates democracy and the open and transparent process. I don't think anyone should copy what is happening in the UPND. That is autocracy. That is fear that if you challenge President Hakainde Hichilema, you find yourself in the cold. You find yourself outside. So on multiplicity of candidates, I find it proper. The PF as a reservoir of leaders. Look at Given Lubinda. Look, former Minister of Justice, veteran parliamentarians, one of the most successful parliamentarians. Look at Brian Mundubile, leader of the opposition in parliament, and a prowess businessman. Look at Makebi Zulu, renowned lawyer, and former minister. Look at Chitalu Chilufya, former minister of health. All of them are qualified in their own right to lead this party. Whether it's Emmanuel Mwamba, whether it's Greyford Monde, everyone brings something to the party. But the process of the party then begins to select. And you can now, out of the 13 candidates, whether it's Mdolo, whether it's Makebi Zulu, whether it's Shimbaka Mbwili, look at Shimbaka Mbwili, grassroots mobilizer. Each candidate brings something unique to the party. For me, it demonstrates to you the quality of leaders we have, whatever the weaknesses and criticism. So, but our members who finally have a say. And so far you can see from a list of 13, all of a sudden you are seeing front runners among the group of 13. So for me, it's not something we should frown upon. It's something we should celebrate. On endorsement, I saw various scholars condemn the endorsement that Honorable Brian Mundubile has received. I wish I could receive those endorsements. There's nothing wrong with candidates receiving endorsements. These are leaders in themselves. They are members of parliament with large following. I don't think that you can, like they've been taken like cattle that endorse Brian Mundubile. No, they have not. In their own right, and I saw it in 2014. I was at the center of the election of Edgar Lungu. You will remember that process. The acting president took reins of power, first took state power, and attempted to take powers of the party. Lucky enough, Edgar Lungu was Minister of Justice, and he was Minister of Defense, and he was Secretary General of the party. So he was able to provide a strong pushback to acting president Guy Scott, who clearly was determined to take the party away from Given Lubinda. He had his own candidate who he pushed, it didn't work, and he attempted to take or sabotage the PF not to win the 2015 elections. What strengthened Edgar Lungu at the time, I remember that day very well, because it was 2 days after we buried President Michael Sata, may he so rest in peace. We buried him on 11th November. On 13th November, we had called for a Central Committee meeting, and it was held at the office of Moinongewina. She was gender minister at the time. So we held that meeting at government complex outside, I think on the mezzanine floor, there's a patio, that's where the meeting was held. The agenda of the Central Committee there was that in light of what has happened, we are endorsing Edgar Lungu as candidate. I remember that Chimbaka stood up and said, no, the constitution is very clear. Even if we want a candidate in Edgar Lungu, the president can only be replaced by General Conference. The members said, no, we as Central Committee, we are going to have our own candidate. We will subject that candidate and recommend him to the members. There will be others that will stand it. We are not saying there will be no election. The election will take place. It was heated debate. While in the heat of the moment, obvious Mwaliteta, Honorable Schone, who can I remember? There were about 5 MPs stormed that Central Committee, and they came, a list of MPs. 65 MPs had signed that they were endorsing Edgar Lungu, and they wanted that Central Committee meeting that was sitting on 13th November 2014 to know that as parliamentarians, they were voting, they had endorsed, for Edgar Lungu. As we were speaking, another set of 5 MPs joined, the number grew, 7 MPs, the number grew to 72. There were others that didn't sign, but when they saw the momentum, they joined in and the number grew to 72. So now from that meeting, the Edgar Lungu immediately, Larissa Somo Kamofie, the Central Committee endorsement and the endorsement from the MPs. Guy Scott, immediately after we made public those announcements, immediately nullified the meeting of the Central Committee, and rightly so. He said the only person allowed by the by the Constitution to call for such a meeting was himself as acting president. Although the meeting was called by Secretary General of the party, Edgar Lungu, Guy Scott recalled his power as acting party president and said, I'm nullifying all the deliberations, and there was a huge crisis, and he said, we are going to conference. I remember we went to Mulungushi International Conference. A decision was made that let's facilitate an electoral college, let's look at the delegates list, and let's go to conference. We went to Mulungushi. So I thought I could provide some background to the issue of endorsement. In my view, there's nothing wrong. All candidates must work hard. The endorsement doesn't mean a vote. Besides, we have seen people endorse candidates. The following week, they're endorsing another set of candidates, and they keep on changing. So the endorsement is not a vote. The vote will take place at the conference. Multiplicity of candidates. There are 13 of us. At the conference, you are required to pay another 20,000 kwacha. There are various factors. I probably will not participate in that election. I don't know. There are others that have fallen out. Goodward Mulubwa is in South Africa. Out of the 13, you see that maybe some may not participate. Others may participate. We don't know. So there'll be a natural selection. The numbers will drop and people will have to pay that 20,000. And remember, there's a verification process that has to be done by the National Council. This is a combination of Central Committee and parliamentarians. If they think, as a leader, you are not of good account or there are issues around you, they may vote that you may not be allowed to stand. So there is that process. By the time you are finally going to vote to present the candidates, there is that filtration process that will take place. So do not worry about, number one, the issues of endorsement. For me, they are a booster. They happen everywhere in America. Barack Obama was a grassroots campaigner. He reached out. He's the first one. If you want to know how, for example, Zoran Mamdani has won New York, he used social media. Barack Obama was the first one to use social media. The gatekeepers, the royalties of the party, didn't think he even stood a chance. He was black, he was young, he was a senator from Chicago. What did Barack Obama do? He broke the gates and we went to the members, he went to the grassroots and electrified the audience. Hillary Clinton was receiving huge millions of dollars from the usual donors of the party, and she was receiving endorsements from senators and others. Barack Obama electrified the base like Donald Trump did 10 years later. Donald Trump, no one wanted him at the top. They said he was uncouth, he had unpalatable language, he was not suitable for the Republican. They are conservatives, they are Christian. He was in his third marriage. There are reasons why Donald Trump couldn't become president. like Barack Obama, Donald Trump went to the base and electrified that base, which then rose. And everyone at the top then fell in place because they couldn't stop the momentum. In the end, it's the people that decide. So this gatekeeping, these endorsements for me doesn't bother me. If you've seen and you're a student of politics, you will. Doc, are you back? Doc, are you back? Or is this an old still picture? Are you back? I can see Doc in the studio because he's supposed to say his goodbyes, but his picture is frozen. So I guess his internet has still collapsed. So do not worry about the endorsements. Just work hard. Get your endorsement. In fact, you ought to be very scientific, whoever is managing any of the candidates. Like, the famous VJ would say, people would have rallies and draw millions. VJ said, me, I used to have just a register. And people didn't understand why I was skipping certain houses and others were giving them chitenges and whatever paraphernalia. But some houses, sometimes they would skip 7, 8 houses, they skip and give. He was not being foolish, he was not being discriminatory. He had a register of voters in that constituency. And it told him that the resources are not limitless, they are not infinite. How do you spend your little resources? VJ always used the register in an election. The mammoth rallies do not determine the results. He knew you had to canvass door to door. Kwati nibachitawa line wa Jehovah's Witness. You go to a house where there is a voter or voters. But sometimes candidates waste money everywhere to people that are not even delegates. At this stage, the only money you as a candidate that would give you free advice you should spend is to the delegates. Who is a delegate coming from Mwense? Who's a delegate coming from Shangombo? Who is a delegate coming from Skongo? All these people you are spending money on, how are they helping the process? They are not. Do you know the name of the delegates who are holding those positions? Do you know them? Do you know what they've gone through in the last 4 years? What harassment have they received locally? That should be your preoccupation. This fascination where you are spending free money for freeloaders in Lusaka is a waste of resources. Obtain the delegates list. Begin to know the delegates that will make a president. That is why it's important for the leadership to scrutinize and approve that delegate so that right people will form that electoral college that will then elect a legitimate and legal president. Don't waste money. Already you have wasted a lot of money on freeloaders that will not vote and will not be available at the conference. At this late stage, use your resources very wisely. You know that is parliamentarians, you know that is members of the Central Committee, you know the structures of those that are coming from the district. What is the number? What is the number from the constituents? What is the number from the province? That is your electoral college. Who will then sit? Whether they will sit virtually or by hybrid, or people will be calling those individual voters for the votes. You, as a candidate, that's your duty to know them. I see a lot of waste. Like VJ would say, he would rather skip 8 houses. It is those who will be spoken to after the elections, the 8 houses. Because they have not registered as voters. Don't waste money on non-voters at this stage. Skip the 8 houses, go to that other house, because that's where the voters are. So, Mwantu Wakalesa, God bless you. The crisis in PF is what we're discussing. PF ought to survive. Some of us have worked tirelessly the last 2 days because of this crisis. I have not even seen any sleep. You're probably seeing my eye bags in the eye because we are worried. Our life depends on what PF and the opposition will do. Our life depends, like many others, depend on what will happen in 2026. We cannot afford to play, to frolic, to squander the opportunities that we have before the people of Zambia. Our life depends on the unity of the PF, the unity of the opposition, to succeed and ensure that President Hakainde Hichilema is replaced, because he's not a good leader for our country. He has not brought any meaningful development is a danger to the well-being of the countries, is endangered national security, is endangered, he has threatened our peace and security, he's endangered our democracy, he has abandoned the rule of law, he has hijacked democratic institutions. He's not a leader who's building Zambia. He's a leader who has threatened the threads, the golden threads that hold us together, that of one Zambia, one nation. He's not a leader who will leave a base that we can build on. In fact, I pity the next president. The next president's work is insurmountable because of the work that has to be done to the economy. The stolen assets that have been done to institutions like Mopani, KCM and others. The reclaiming of ZESCO, which is now being plundered to secure private interest and mint millions for those entities that have been placed as middlemen for ZESCO. The work that is ahead, first this economy is loaned to the IMF, and to rescue it from the clutches that President Hakainde Hichilema has weaved it into will be very difficult. I pity the next president. And that is why we should not treat the issue of who should be our president with kid's glove, because the work ahead that is required, it requires a leader that is measured, that is experienced, that will recognize that cheap promises will not work, that quick fixes will not work, that the work that lie ahead requires a deep-seated leader who can galvanize the best number of Zambians to take us across to development. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. And thank you to Dr. Mwelwa, who joined me and supported me in this discussion. Our dear brother Anton Kasandwe apologized. He had a child that was unwell. He promised to join the discussion, but I guess we don't know what has happened. I wish the child that the Lord should touch that child and that child be healed. And to you, the callers, you make this program. So God bless you, and shalom, shalom. We'll see you tomorrow.
Fellow citizens, the resilience of the party to withstand external and internal conflict is unquestionable, as it has been tested over time. Once again, the Patriotic Front Party is challenged to rise to the call for unity and proven oneness and give hope to the nation. On behalf of all aspiring candidates, I have been authorized to issue this statement. Today, the aspiring candidates held a meeting at which the call to unity and resolution of perceived conflicts was highlighted under the guidance of the elders of the party, who included former Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Her Honor Madam Inonge Mutukwawina, Ambassador Paul Lumbi, and Honorable Ngongam Kupa, the former National Chairperson of the Patriotic Front Party. Following the initial talks, it has been agreed that the parties continue engaging in fostering oneness and unity of purpose. As such, the meeting resolved to propose to the Central Committee to postpone the holding of the proposed convention to a later date, as shall be decided by the Central Committee. May God bless our party as we work towards fostering unity both within the party and the country at large. I thank you.
Kwenyu ndemwe chawe mabanja ona njala mkomo ndalama zonse mutumbalano masukwa kuchuluka pa mutupatu. Time is up kwenyu not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up Where you're going, not enough time is up for your lies and bluff. Kanizanu ndizopanda pindu anakulira miseu mwatu tikufuna chilengedwe cha tsopano osati mapocket anu opindika ndalama. Listen to the cries, they're louder than your lies. You can't silence the truth. It's time for the youth. Time is up, time is up. When you're going is not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. Time is up, time is up. When you're going is not enough. Time is up for your lies and bluff. We rise, we stand, we fight together for the children, for a better forever. When you go not tapano, we take the rain. Tikonza jiko.
We bring you guests that challenge the narrative, unveil what power hides, and spark national debate, speaking truth to power, from the grassroots to the highest offices. EMV.